Hi, I'm Jack Davis, and welcome to another episode of The Zone. Joining me today, Korbin Miles, noted Falcons fan, noted comedy man, noted beard.
Number one.
And Kahlil Bell, former NFL running back. Maybe he's going to jump back and be an NFL running back. We'll see. And guys, obviously right now we have to talk football, and perhaps the worst press conference ever held by Roger Goodell. Coming out after a week of hiding, if you didn't know, Roger Goodell, obviously the NFL's in turmoil, the Ray Rice suspension, that fiasco, the Adrian Peterson suspension, that fiasco, and he comes out to give a press conference because he's been in hiding and says nothing. Nothing of substance. What was your guys' take?
It was pretty bad. We've been waiting for Roger to come out of hiding, just like Al-Qaeda. And then he just comes out and
Al-Qaeda's making more videos than Goodell. Their message is more clear than Goodell's message.
He just comes out and just says, "Yeah, we're probably going to get something done."
Maybe.
I mean, we appointed some women to help out with the situation. It wasn't my fault though. But that's basically all he said. He just tried to dodge some bullets so he wouldn't get fired. And he didn't do anything to help himself. I think he did more to hurt himself than he actually did to help himself.
Clearly, you're a player, and under Goodell's term, players have been crucified. In fact, in the New Orleans Saints bounty scandal, when Roger Goodell suspended multiple players and coach Sean Payton, he specifically said, ignorance is not an excuse, yet he pleads ignorance in why he shouldn't be in trouble. As a player, and your fellow colleagues as players have been subject to his standards that he himself is not holding himself to, how does that feel?
I just think it's unfair, and I'm not naive to think that life is fair. I know some things people can get away with, some things other people can't. But being a former player, I've seen friends, teammates, other opposing players and teams get fined for things that are just outrageous. And then when you try to appeal, you're appealing to the same people who find you. So I just think it's just kind of. I mean, it's a tough situation for him because he is the commissioner of the league, but at the same time, I feel like he should have took a stronger stance and maybe even punished himself because what he did or didn't do was extremely wrong.
I think that's a great point, and he should have punished himself because it's kind of ridiculous for Roger Goodell to come out and say, look, I'm sorry, right? When a player makes a mistake, they're punished. You can be sorry but still deserve a punishment. And I think what was the real crazy thing is he didn't seem to take any real responsibility. It was like, you're nodding your head. What do you think, Korbin?
I totally agree. I totally agree. He probably should have came out and fined himself, actually accepted more responsibility, and then take more action to get stuff done much faster. Because people want answers and people want somebody to blame, and he's just basically hiding. And going back into hiding and not doing anything. The press conference did nothing to help him, and I think it's actually hurting his reputation more right now that he actually did that press conference and didn't answer anything.
It's funny because speaking of his reputation being hurt, this week ESPN columnist Bill Simmons, who's probably the most powerful columnist at ESPN, millions of Twitter followers. He started his own site, Grantland, that's a huge site. He has a weekly podcast that's listened to by 5 million people. Bill Simmons comes out this week on his podcast and goes nuts. He curses, he says, quote, Roger Goodell is a fucking liar. Someone at ESPN come after me. He's a fucking liar. He lied. I'm insulted. ESPN suspends Bill Simmons 3 weeks for his comments about Roger Goodell, which while, they're strong opinions, he gets paid to give his opinion. Do you guys feel like it's unfair that Bill Simmons, in speaking his mind, is getting suspended when he's just speaking what a lot of people are saying on other channels anyway?
That's tough because now we're talking about freedom of speech. And, maybe he shouldn't have used profanity in his depiction of Roger Goodell. But at the same time, I think we all have a right to say what we feel and how we feel, especially about an issue like this, being that he's a sports analyst and this is what he does for a living. I think the punishment might have been a little bit too much. But I think where he was coming from is the fact that Roger Goodell went up there and made this statement and answered these questions, but I think nobody really felt like he was being 100% truthful in this whole situation. I mean, for TMZ to pretty much say that they made one phone call and got this video, and a corporation like the NFL can't figure this out. I mean, I think people are kind of looking at him like, you know, you're digging yourself a deeper hole. If he would have just came out and just been like, look, we saw it, we thought 2 games was enough. Obviously, we're wrong. We made a mistake. That's our bad. We messed up. But I think they just keep continuing to, you know, throw dirt on their own backs because.
And what is this like as a player? Because again, the league holds players to such accountability.
It's infuriating.
Does you think that hurts the trust between
players? Don't trust Roger Goodell. I'm speaking as a former player, someone who's played in the league for, you know, quite some time. Players don't trust him. No, players don't trust the NFL in general. The NFL is out for the NFL, not for the players' interest. And that's why I think, you know, the first time I came on the show, I talked so much about educating yourself, because you can't count on the NFL to educate you or to look out for your best interest. These are things you need to do and be proactive for yourself and your future. So whatever he could have came up and said everything he wanted and said the sky was green and the ocean was purple. Players are not going to believe him. And the court of public opinion doesn't believe him now because the NFL is under such scrutiny right now. So I just think the NFL is doing themselves an injustice by saying they did not have access or could not get access to this video. Now, if they saw it, I don't know. But if they really wanted to get this video, they could have got it. They're the NFL. I mean,
I almost feel like Roger Goodell, he's not doing like quite a Ron Burgundy impression, but he keeps, last week we joked after we finished recording the show about Roger Goodell just being really oblivious. And then he went out and gave this press conference where he was oblivious past or even most wild impressions.
Yeah, it's just everything we've already said. I totally agree. He's just not helping himself.
Well, I sent out a tweet saying that, you know, for so long he's been judge, jury, and executioner for all these players. For any time there's a fine, helmet to helmet, roughing the passer, whatever it is, he gets the last say for what the punishment is going to be. And now he's in a position where, you know, he messed up. He knows he's acknowledged he's messed up. The public has acknowledged he's messed up. But what's the punishment going to be? We'll talk about it. We've hired some women to counsel our young men and our players in this league. I mean, I think people need more than that, especially with issues like domestic violence and child abuse. I think people need someone who's going to stand up and take the brunt of whatever's coming his way and be a leader for the whole league, not just for. It just seems like he's very selfish right now. He's not standing up for the league as a whole and just taking the blame and responsibility for this, this tragedy that's happened.
Right. Hypothetical, you guys become commissioner for a day. Right now, Korbin, Kahlil, you put in commissioner. What's the one thing you would do, be it with this situation or the NFL as a whole?
If I'm the commissioner?
If you're the commissioner.
And I messed up like that?
Yes, you're thrust in the commissioner's chair today.
Like Roger Goodell got fired?
Yeah, and now Korbin, Commissioner Korbin.
Double fire Roger Goodell. I'd basically probably make since Roger Goodell is basically judge, jury, and executioner right now, I'd basically take that entire thing away. That needs to go away. The players don't like that. It's not really fair. The entire way stuff is done. They can throw down the hammer, but they should not be the ones that our appeals are.
I think it's a great point.
That's tough because being a former player, I've seen how the NFL works, and I kind of know some of the things that former players, current players, future players are going to have to deal with. So it's really hard for me to say. I think there's more than one issue to touch on there, but I tell you what, you give me his salary for $44 million, you can keep me as commissioner as long as you want, and I'll solve all the problems. Because you're making $44 million, then you need to do something other than just smile and shake hands and kiss babies like he's been doing, in my opinion.
He makes double what any player makes.
Oh, he makes a lot of money. I know he makes a lot, and that's why I think it's so sad to see that he hasn't taken to the forefront and been the leader in this situation. I mean, everyone's looking for someone to stand up, and I think, if you watch ESPN, NFL Network, or NFL Live or whatever, I think former players and former players who are commentating or sports analysts right now, they are giving it to Roger Goodell.
And what does that say?
No holds barred.
Because, it's funny, I see you here being outspoken. Usually players are going to try and refrain from jumping on something that could come back to haunt them. What must it mean that players are being vocal on Twitter, being vocal in the media, which is kind of a break from what we've seen in the past, even when Goodell's made other controversial decisions?
Well, I think it just goes back to, just being fair. For so long, players have not had a voice for any of the punishments that's been dished out to them, whether it's been, domestic violence, whether it's been helmet to helmets, whatever it's been. It's always been a, iron fist way of doing things in the NFL, and it was Roger Goodell's fist that dished out the punishment. So I think players now realizing that he messed up in a major way, and there could possibly be some fabrication here in terms of if he actually saw the video, if the video has been mailed to the offices in New York. No one really knows. This investigation is going to shed a lot of light.
In the same way you said he's judge, jury, and executioner, who's leading the investigation? Robert Mueller, the former head of the FBI, who works at the law firm that negotiated the NFL's DirecTV deal. And when he was questioned with that at the press conference, he kind of said, well, you're questioning the integrity of the FBI. Not really, because the guy's not the FBI director anymore. He works for a law firm, which made the NFL a ton of money. So even in them trying to clean up the league, it doesn't feel transparent.
No, it doesn't. And I think that's what hurts. That's why right now, I mean, we just saw a great weekend of football, but there's still so much going on with these situations that, it's really kind of giving the NFL a black eye, and it's really kind of sad because for, the other 1,900 players in the league who do things the right way and are good people, there's a handful of guys and who are, sullying the name of the brand of the NFL. And then we have a guy who's the leader of the NFL who's not coming to the forefront, putting his foot down. The way he puts his foot down in finding players and taking players' money and this personal conduct policy that he implemented in 2007, he should put his foot down in this situation. Put his foot down, make a definite, standard to what your new personal conduct policy is going to be, and that's what it is from now on. Stop backtracking, stop saying, oh, we need some time to think about it. You waited a week, 10 days to come out and have this conference, didn't answer any questions, and now what are we stuck with? We're stuck with that right there.
Well, you weren't lying when you said you had a lot of opinions on this subject.
I'm just,
Preach.
Being a former player, I think, there has been some things that Goodell has done that have been for the betterment of the league, but at the same time, I just feel like I've been punished and fined before. And I know what it's like when those zeros come out of your check account, or your check, or your bank account. So for him not to get any punishment on this, I just think it's absurd. And I think every player in the league feels the same way. I'm not calling for his job. I'm just saying you made a mistake, you need to pay for that mistake. I'm not saying you need to be fired and we need to find a new commissioner, but there needs to be steps taken where you get punished for what you've done. Plain and simple.
Amen. Amen.
Totally
And
agree.
one thing Roger Goodell's done as commissioner, which has helped the bottom line of the league, but might not have helped player safety, an issue Goodell loves to harp on, is Thursday night games. So for those who aren't aware, for the NFL, it was always every Sunday and then Monday Night Football. But then Roger Goodell, in an effort to increase revenue, increase TV contracts, established Thursday Night Football. Now, while Thursday Night Football adds another night of football to our lives, potential huge player safety ramifications. Korbin, you're a big Falcons fan. The Falcons benefited from this Thursday Night Football with being the home team against the Buccaneers in a just shellacking. But what have you noticed in these Thursday night games? Do you think the quality of play is lower?
I do agree that the quality of play is going to be a lot low in these Thursday night games, especially this year. I mean, if you look at them all, the opening one, Green Bay, Seattle, forget who played last week, and then the week before, after that, and then last week, Falcons, 56-14.
Oof.
But it's every single road team basically has been getting
crushed.
pummeled. And I think it's much harder for the road teams because they basically have to, done on Sunday, they got 2 days of practice, and I think they leave on Wednesday. And so then they got the jet lag, and then they play on Thursday. And you could probably speak better as a football player, but even as a fan, that seems excruciating in terms of that. I'd much rather be the home team.
I have trouble recovering from my pickup games after 2 days.
Yeah.
I can only imagine an NFL game.
Well, I think this year it's been a little bit more taxing on the players just because it's starting in week 1. Previous years, it didn't start, Thursday Night Football didn't start till I believe week 8.
Yeah, that's true.
So, having to play a week 1 game, full live bullets, and then having 2 days off, and it's different when you're in mid-season because your body's kind of used to it and you're kind of used to the grind, and you can just keep going, pushing through it. But after week 1 and week 2, those are some rough weeks in the NFL. A lot of guys are sore. A lot of guys are banged up, and I mean, not just the teams that played on Thursday night, but right now in the NFL, there's a lot of injuries, that are happening. Guys are going down.
Well, they made training camp shorter, so guys aren't getting warmed up, but yet they're packing more games into the actual schedule. Do you think that has something to do with the injuries?
Football is a violent game. I don't know if you played 4 games or 16 games, you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna deal with injuries. I mean, Brett Favre was the only guy I know who got to play 20 years and never got hurt. You know what I mean? So, those are rare cases. But I don't know how much more player safety they can get on this issue. Like I said, I think maybe in previous years, going into week 8 when guys are in full season form already, I think that helps them a little bit because I as a player, I kind of enjoyed Thursday night games because then you get the weekend off. You get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off for the most part.
Yeah, it's like a bye week almost. You got to have some fun.
Well, hey, man, we do all that hard work. We got to let loose sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of like Thursday night games, but I do think that this year it was adding those extra 8 games in the beginning of the year. I think it could hurt the away teams. Like you said, the away teams have been getting blown out. It could hurt a little bit, but at the same time, I mean, this is what you play the game for. If they say we're playing at midnight tonight, then you got to be ready to play.
So this Thursday, we have the Redskins facing off. Robert Griffin, hurt, out. Kirk Cousins, they lost this past week to Philadelphia, but he had a great game. There's a quarterback controversy here. Obviously, Robert Griffin was the first-round pick, rookie of the year. He gets hurt in training camp. There's kind of some things maybe Cousins fits into better to Coach Jay Gruden's system. What's your take on this, Korbin?
I think it's another Tom Brady situation happening, basically, when he took over the Patriots.
Will Kirk Cousins go on to date models after?
Timeout.
I'm not
Timeout. I got to interrupt you there, though.
I'm saying it's the situation, not
Kirk Cousins just lost to the Eagles this
played
weekend.
Well, though.
Played well. Played very well. But they lost. And we're talking about arguably 1, 2, or 3 greatest quarterbacks of all time.
But he wasn't that when he stepped in.
Yeah, but when he came in, he won 12 straight games.
You got to let the man make his argument.
Okay, my bad.
I understand what you're saying.
My bad.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not comparing him to the player Tom Brady. I'm comparing him to the situation Tom Brady was in when he took over.
He's definitely not as sexy as Tom. Oh, my God.
Oh, most definitely not. But the Kirk Cousins, I feel kind of bad for RG3 because he got hurt his rookie season. I think Mike Shanahan kind of did him wrong.
He tried to stick it out for the team, gut it out, and it led to him probably making his injuries worse.
And then I think if Kirk Cousins, even though he lost, he's playing 100 times better than what RG3 was playing while last year, at the beginning of this year.
RG3 really struggled in preseason as well.
And I think Kirk Cousins, people are already clamoring kind of for Kirk Cousins anyway. Now he's just proving their point that he's overall a better quarterback than RG3 is.
Khalil, do you think?
Is it my turn yet?
Do you think that injuries though could be affecting Robert Griffin? Because now at the young age of 25 or so, dislocated ankle, 2 torn knee ligaments. I mean, at a certain point, his style of quarterback, it's hard to come back from that, especially quarterback these lower body injuries.
Well, to his defense, the ankle injury, he didn't even get touched. It was a freak accident. So things like that happen in sports. Unfortunately, it's terrible. But let's just get back to the whole Kirk Cousins RG3 thing. Now, this is my problem with the NFL. Every year, a team starts out hot in week 1 or week 2 or week 3, or a player starts out hot and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, Kirk Cousins might be a great player, but RG3, he won Rookie of the Year his rookie year. He didn't play well last year coming off an injury. No one really knows. The jury's still out. No one really knows the jury on Kirk Cousins neither. Let it play out. Come talk to me in 8 weeks, and we'll see how good Kirk Cousins really is. Because, I mean, RG3 won the Heisman, and he won Rookie of the Year. And those were for reasons. Now, he won Rookie of the Year against Andrew Luck, who's pretty darn good quarterback in himself. So I think Kirk Cousins, I liked him back in college. And I thought when they drafted him and he came in and played for RG3 their rookie year, I thought he was a good player. But I'm not so quick to jump on his bandwagon just yet, especially being 1-1.
But tonight could be a good chance for Cousins to shine on national TV.
Kirk Cousins has played, 5, 6 games? It wasn't until last week that he has more touchdowns in his career than interceptions. Going into the game where RG3 got hurt, I think he was 12 picks, 10 touchdowns. Now, that's not a very good stat.
Small sample size.
Well, then let's
We're going to see.
Then
we will see.
Let it play out.
I totally agree that we have to wait and see. But Sam Bradford was also really good his rookie season and in college. And where's he right now?
Well, let's compare. You saying he was good? Did his team make the playoffs?
No, they did not.
Well, then he wasn't that good.
I'm not saying he's as electrifying. Sam Bradford's not as electrifying as RG3, but I'm saying.
Look, I played in this
RG3
league.
has not been playing well.
Very true. Very true. And I'm not getting his back. What I'm saying is I played in this league. Kirk Cousins he has played well. But at the same time, we just got it. The jury's still out. We got to wait and see.
We're gonna have a texting thread tonight, us three. I'm gonna put us on it, and so we can text as this Kirk Cousins game is going on. I'm rooting for Cousins now.
Me being a player that I was, I only started a handful of games in my career. I backed up most of the people I played for, but I had a couple good games, and there were some fans on Twitter. Oh, he's the greatest player. So I kind of know how this whole sports world goes. It's what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
RG3 hasn't done anything for the Redskins positive since 2012. I think that was his rookie year. It's 2014 now.
Yeah.
So I think Kirk Cousins played wonderfully on Saturday. I watched the whole game. I thought it was a fantastic game other than the fight that broke out, which was a dirty hit by the Redskins player who hit Nick Foles. So I thought that was dirty. He deserves to get fined for that. But the jury's out. Let's let it play out.
So I'll make a Skip Bayless statement here. Kirk Cousins will have a better career than RG3.
Oh boy, anything Skip says is just it's blasphemy in my opinion.
Right here.
We'll see if that's true. I mean, tonight hopefully that he has to your point. But last thing I want to talk about before we let you guys go, we just spent 20 minutes talking about football, heated debate, passion. You're sweating from this heated debate.
It's hot in here.
The baseball playoffs start next week.
What's that?
We just had a great stretch run. Dodgers win the division last night.
I'm a Giants fan.
Wild cards coming down to it in both leagues. Why does no one care about baseball? The whole national dialogue right now is around NFL and then NBA. Even though those, NFL's just starting, NBA is the offseason. MLB is hitting its peak and no one's talking about it. Real quick, why do you think people don't care about baseball? Why do you not care about baseball the same way you do football and maybe other sports?
Because America has very short attention spans. Very, very short. And baseball used to be America's pastime. No longer America's pastime. It's definitely taken over by football. And baseball's fun to actually go to the games because you get to drink beer. But outside of that, you have to sit through possibly a couple of hours of somebody throwing a ball and then occasionally hitting it and running on a base and stopping, and then hitting it and a fun home run, but then it stops again. Yeah. Football, you got action happening every couple seconds, basically. I mean, it's not constantly moving like soccer, but you got
big
potentially
hits,
highlight reels every couple of seconds going on in the NFL, and you get to drink beer, and so that's why I think.
Kahlil, quick take, why in your mind does baseball no longer have the national spotlight of other sports?
That's tough. I don't really have the answer for that. I just know that being a former baseball, basketball, and football player, baseball was the most boring of the three sports, in my opinion, to play. I've never really been a fan of watching it. I like to go to games, and I enjoy that. Going to games is fun. Eating, hot dogs, pretzels, and having a beer or whatever. But I just think it's hard to compete with, the excitement level of football and a basketball. Basketball, it's constantly moving. You got dunks. You got these freakish athletes who are 6'8", can jump 50 inches in the air. Football, you got guys like Julio Jones, who we've discussed, is 225 pounds and can run a 4.3 and is just is the fastest person on the field. You just don't see things like that. And in baseball, I remember last year when Yasiel Puig was doing his thing out here for the Dodgers, and I hate the Dodgers, by the way, terrible. He was doing his thing for the Dodgers. Everyone was just marveling at the kind of athlete he is, and nothing against him. But we see Yasiel Puigs in the NFL every day. For every Yasiel Puig,
he's the exception in the MLB. He's the rule in the NFL.
He's the everyday player in the NFL. He's extremely athletic, great for baseball, but in the NFL, he's just another guy.
Yeah, and in my opinion, and it's funny because you're a former athlete in a very explosive sport, football. You're a big sports fan, but you've also
played middle school.
Had a lot of success in doing short form content. I think your point about America's short attention span is the best. Baseball is not highlight conducive, right? A home run's great, but at the same time, a home run's a home run. Maybe in a big situation, it's great. No one wants to see a pitcher strike out 10 guys. Like, it's fun if you're at the game, but it's a compilation of pitchers striking guys out. Baseball's not a highlight sport. Now we consume all of our content, especially sports content, in little chunks and little bits.
Exactly.
And baseball is not conducive to highlights. The games are 3.5 hours long with very little action. 3.5 hours for, 5 big hits,
Score of
4
1-1.
big at-bats.
Yeah.
So I think baseball's got a huge problem. And if you look at it, and what I brought up before, the three biggest baseball players have the same social media following as just below average NFL and NBA players.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because the players aren't given the chance to showcase their personality. You talk about Puig. Puig's this fireball. He's like this crazy guy. He's bat flipping. He's having a ton of fun. And it's like, oh, that's shameful. That's shameful. You can't be doing that. Have fun, man. It's sports.
I agree.
It's sports. I hate when people get too serious about sports. Celebrate. Talk trash. It's sports. Everything else in life is so serious. Sports should be fun.
Should be. It is.
Tell it to Terrell Owens, though.
Yeah.
He's not in the league.
One of my favorite players. Well, I mean, he is like 58.
Yeah, it's true.
He's not 58. I'm just saying he played in the league.
In football, he's 58.
15, 16 years,
Yeah.
man. That's a hell of a career.
Yeah, well, we got a very fun Thursday night game coming up. I'm really rooting for Kirk Cousins. We'll all be texting.
Greatest
Cousins
player of all
today.
time.
He's going for 400 yards, 4 TDs, no picks.
Greatest
Hall
Redskin of all
Fame.
time.
He's going to be dating.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Let them all come.
All right.
Coming out right now.
Kahlil, thank you so much. Corbin, thank you again. Love having you guys both back on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Everyone, thank you for watching another episode of The Zone. Make sure to subscribe to the Lip TV and go on thelip.tv to see content right away on our website. Hop over to the Lip TV 2, where you can see full-length episodes of The Zone and subscribe. And follow the Lip TV on social media, @the Lip TV on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.